Welcome all to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald Barrington Robinson and friends, seen on the internet 24 hours a day. We're seen on channel 17 in Genesee County and other adjacent counties. We're seen in Wayne County on channel 68 every Sunday at 9 in adjacent counties, and we're also seen downriver, on channel 20. So please tune in. You can activate our programs through the In My Opinion Show or RBR via YouTube. I want to welcome our millions of viewers worldwide, as well as our very talented co-hosts and our technical staff. Welcome to the In My Opinion Show, Jackie.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Henry.
You're welcome,
Mr. Henry Hatter.
Good to be here.
Let's talk about Flint, Michigan. I have lived and been around and in this city for over 25 years. Systemic erosion of positivity persists. Corruption, fraud, poor schools, poor teachers, a city council that won't work with the mayors. Some members are just plain rude and uncompromising. The city is filled with apathy. Police, sheriff, state police, DEA, and released prisoners. No jobs, no growth. Members of the population leaving in droves. The leaders, it seems, are always in meetings after meetings with very little positive results. Folks, when you go to the voting booth, vote for those that have positive ideas, have a history of helping. Don't vote for people just because of name recognition, all right, and things of that nature. I think that's got a lot to do with the dynamics here in Flint. 25 years ago, General Motors was flourishing, okay? Now, you look at what's happening here in Flint. You can go to the north side and see all the way to Grand Blanc, okay, where plants once existed. Tens of thousands of people are employed, okay? I think now the number's down to maybe less than 30,000 people working for General Motors.
7,000.
7,000?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
7,000.
All right, I stand corrected. 7,000. I mean, this is ridiculous, okay? Burned out storefronts, abandoned cars, blight. Now, Flint is my adopted city, okay? I don't mean to be negative, but what else can I say at this point? We've got to have people that are dedicated, all right, and willing to work for the people of Flint. All right, we don't need the drug dealing, and we don't need the appearance of law enforcement almost every corner. Come on now, this is not a dictatorship here in Flint. Let's come together and make something positive happen. It can. It once did. At one point, Flint was one of the highest in terms of education achievement. Now, it's pretty close to the bottom, okay? As I advocated before, when I was working for the Flint Inquirer newspaper as a reporter and columnist, get rid of those bad teachers, okay? I know they have unions and stuff, but look, all right? Get rid of them, however way that you have to, lawfully, okay? Don't keep renewing their contracts because they've been at a certain school or you've known them for years. That's ridiculous. It's all about the youth. That's our future, and you got to believe in our youth. Okay, start teaching them things at home. All right, things that are positive. Like I tell my daughter every day, education is everything. Education is the key. Jackie, what do you think?
I I work in Flint. I live outside of Flint, but I work in Flint and I mentor in Flint. And so I get a chance to see some different things because I'm here every day. And so I have a positive light to shed. And I'm very proud to say that my college has come through with shining stars because they have partnered with Michigan State and University of Michigan and other universities where you can actually transfer your credits to them, and you can even pursue your bachelor's degree right there at the campus of Mott. So a lot of people are educating, so that's why a lot of them are not working, because normally during an unemployment session people go back to retool and get some more skills. So that's what a lot of them are doing. Not everybody. Also for the land, in the city of Flint, downtown, all of that land is purchased. There is no empty buildings downtown in the area that is targeted right now. All of those buildings are purchased, and so that's locked up. Also, Mott Baker College is getting ready to build a new dormitory because it's changing from the General Motors to more of a college town. So Baker is building another dorm. Also, University of Michigan is building a dorm, and Michigan State is downtown now. So we have those three colleges downtown. But, along with what you're saying, we have to change our mindset and see things differently. And also, the Flint Board of Education just released a sketch of a new school they're going to put in the place of Central. So it's going to be a new high school with new ideas, new goals. So that's something positive. And on the work front, MTA, unlike how they're dealing with issues in Saginaw, they're doing a great job because MTA has partnered up with all of these surrounding cities like Howell, Ypsilanti, Pontiac, and they're taking you to your job. Lapeer. All you have to do is show up at Michigan Works, pay $2 a day. They drive you to and from your job every day. And that's helping people get outside of Flint to get. But what it is back to that mindset. A lot of people got comfortable during the time where there wasn't any jobs. So they're not actively looking for jobs, because right now is a Christmas season and people hire for Christmas because of the increase of shopping, and people are not applying to those jobs because they're comfortable taking handouts, something that we need to change our mindset and be more providers versus receivers. So that's what my view is on that.
Also, Mr. Hatter?
Well, this is a very good discussion. And as I said before to Jack, and we agree on this, and perhaps you do too, and that we need to have more discussions about this stuff. Education, job creation, crime in the street. Those are our problems. We must deal with them. And people don't always see these arguments contested on a forum like this is, where you have both the positive and the negative approach to resolution, a proposed resolution, or something to observe that people have never heard of before. Many people have not heard of the points that we made in the earlier show about education in this city, and why we continuously perform so badly among the entire education form throughout the country. We have to change that. And you said something very good about Flint. You said Flint is the home of the Mott Community College, and it is the home of the Community Foundation education system. One of you said that we had the best in the world. This was a city that everybody wanted to migrate to, and many of the people not here on this table, but others who are watching the program, did come from other cities as a result of seeking new opportunities with plants like General Motors plants. We had employed 78,000 people here at one time, and jobs for anybody who wanted one. If you lived in Flint, you could go down and hire into General Motors, because we all had a lot of transition. People were coming and going in those days. And this kind of environment created a lot of opportunities to do something different. You can leave the plant and go into education, or you can create your own business. What a mecca this was. And this is the city that introduced Black Americans to the middle class.
Middle class, that's right.
Way back in 1941. And the union and I have had this discussion. They said no, 1937. When the unions came into authority, they said, well, when when people of color were going to work for General Motors, they were going to receive the same wages as do whites. Now, but we didn't hear about this for 70 years. And I'm proud of the people that's bringing this to people who've never heard this before. And we need to educate our people, at least give them some ideas what they need to research and see how good we are, how well off we are. And yet the city of Flint, and we used to be the largest, we had the largest income per capita in 1970, the largest in the world. And yet, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 5 years ago, they said, Flint is the poorest city in Michigan. That is hard to believe. And when we had so much capacity, and maybe a lot of us didn't know how to spend our money because we could buy boats and all of these other things that was not necessary to a lifestyle that's beholden to Americans. We wasted a lot of money.
Right.
And but we can, now we got to go back and restructure that, and particularly for young African Americans. You got to go back and pick them up so they will be prepared for a new generation where they will make their voices heard and create wealth for themselves and become part of the leadership of this country. And we're doing the right kind of things here talking about this, and I hope that we will have many more of these kind of discussions. And and we talk about criticism. We talk about the things that are not being done. And yet for years we say, oh no, don't criticize us because it's a man's fault. But we now know that we have to accept responsibility for our own fate, or nobody's going to do it for us. I think this is a great city. We just need to have the leadership to bring it back.
Well, this has been a great conversation as well. The people that are on the In My Opinion show were affiliated with the North End Soup Kitchen, and for the last 9 years we've been supporting the North End Soup Kitchen with fresh vegetables and fruits. And every Thanksgiving, we supply all of their turkeys for their Thanksgiving dinner. And I'm in agreement with Mr. Hatter, on his thoughts about revitalization, if you will, of Flint, Michigan. But it takes all of us to do our parts, okay? We've seen what Flint was, okay, in the past, but now we see and witness every day what Flint is in the present, okay? For whatever reason, Flint does not seem to catch a break, okay? What Mr. Hint was talking about General Motors, and yeah, they did when they were starting their union. There was a strike, okay. In fact, my uncle was a part of that sit-down strike, all right. But we've progressed. Okay, I wasn't born, in the 1930s. Okay, I'm only 29. Okay, but Flint can do better. It has the potential. Okay, in fact, I'm a graduate of Mont College, and I had great experiences there. During my educational time. Flint has the education, possibilities here in this city. You got the University of Michigan, Flint. You got Baker College. You got Mott Community College. Michigan State, and there's probably some more that I'm not mentioning. You mentioned one.
Those are
Detroit business about.
No, Davenport has moved out of Flint.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But while he's talking about that, I like to say this is important. I just went to a seminar, and this was so enlightening. And at the seminar, what it's telling us is that we need to encourage our young people and our working people that the careers have changed. So before you go to school and before you pick out a career, you need to make sure it's relevant, because a lot of careers are not relevant. And if you know right now, the internet is everything. So there is so many jobs. So instead of you not being paid to be on your computer and your pad, get the skill to make some money off of those things, because there is money to be made in security. There's money to be made in selling and marketing. There is so much money to be made on the internet, but we have to educate ourselves in order for us to obtain those jobs, because a lot of times when people are out of work, the technical jobs go unfilled.
Yes.
You know, so that is an important point that you guys need to understand. So don't just go to school and do what you love to do. Make sure when you graduate that job is relevant, and you see where it's still a need for that, and there's not too many people in that field, so that you find yourself working outside of your major.
And also, to expand on that, I brought up some of the ills of Flint, okay, and it's been talked about. So, so it's blue in the face, it's enough of these meetings talking about the same old regurgitated stuff, all right? Let's talk, not start, because I think the conversations have already been addressed. What do we do now, okay, to improve the situations here in Flint, okay? It seems every time you turn around, Flint's being hit with issues, just recently the water issue, okay? That's killed over a dozen people so far, allegedly through Legionnaire's disease, etc. But tens of thousands of people are affected by this, this poison water. Jackie, you said you had something that you wanted to mention about the water.
Yes, regarding the water, it was a news headline the other day where commercial buildings are not immune to not paying their water bill. They have to pay the water bill. And a lot of residents were not aware that their companies or their rental places were not paying the water bill. So the city of Flint issued maybe 7 names totaling $1 million where they have not paid their water bills, and they were given until Friday to pay 10%, or they would have their services disconnected. That's unfortunate for a renter when you're paying your rent and you're thinking that you're taken care of, and then you see on the news that your situation is getting ready to fall apart. So the good news is that they're preparing shelters and placements for these people who will be displaced because of these, the water disconnection. It's unfortunate, but it was just business people trying to get over. Pretty much. That's what it is in a nutshell.
And Jackie, I want to support you on the fact that anybody who uses Flint water must pay for the water, period. The city cannot function without this income, and it has to come from everybody. Even though the water is sown by many poisoned, but that is not a good statement. The EPA, the DNR, the city of Flint is doing everything it can to rectify the problems that happened over the last 2 years. And we can see that we need to have faith in them, and if people are using the water, they need to pay for it.
Right.
Yeah, that's to keep your city vibrant. This is where we can be creative. We can recreate, and we must, as black people, along with everybody else, contribute the payments to the city of Flint. And we got to get out of this political business of making Flint look as though it's the creepiest place on earth, because you're driving away business potential.
That's right.
You're driving away new populations. You're decreasing your population size by people moving out who are birth worthy, or that's not the word I want.
Property value.
Yeah, and the property values continue to decline.
Right.
So you end up with 100% of nothing.
Right.
Got to get that behind us.
But we also got to hold those responsible. We got to hold them responsible, okay? The ones that excuse me, that had knowledge of this. All right, whether it was last month, 2 years from now, because it just didn't start 2 years ago. People knew about this here long before that. Okay, so and Shooty's got to stop jerking the system around. Okay, and then bring these people to justice. I don't care if it's Snyder or whom it is. Get the guilty people. Let's get that behind us too. At the same time, all right, deal with the people with the water issues.
Before you go, I just want to so people are working behind the scenes, and I was just thinking, of the new stuff that we have going on, and I had some people from my class, Southwestern, come here, and it wasn't here when we graduated, and it was the Back to the Bricks, and they were just amazed at how nicely ran that is, and how it wasn't any crime, and there was a curfew, and also we have the Taste of Flint now, and that's that is headed by the farmers market. And they also have the Creme, which is publicized all over the world, and on CNN it's live broadcast. And they have the New Year's Eve at the farmers market now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're outside, and they have like a tent. So they're working on things, but as what Henry said, they're not going to bring businesses and whatnot to Flint if we don't change what we do. We cannot have high crime rates and think that we're going to have people bring their business here.
Exactly.
They're not going to do it.
Nope.
I agree, and we need to continue this conversation. Don't let it drop. We need to ask people to call in, Ron, if they don't agree with one of the opinions, or collectively all of our opinions. They need to tell us what. Where do we go?
What would they like to see? What would they like to see?
And we tabulate it.
Or additionally, you yourself, whoever has the issue, which we've advocated, I don't know how many times on the In My Opinion show, give us a call, okay? And you have an opposing view, or you have a positive view. Come in and let's talk, okay? That's never been off limits. Moving right along here. Let's stop paying Governor Snyder's legal bills with our taxpayer money. It has mushroomed to over $4 million and growing daily, okay? Now, why should the taxpayers pay Governor Snyder's legal bills for stuff he knew about, did do nothing about it, okay? Until it caught up to him. I don't live I live in the state of Michigan, so I'm affected too, okay? Whether it's UP, the west side, or the south side, or the north side of the state, I'm still affected by this. Why should we have to pay, all right, the taxpayers of Michigan have to pay for his doggone legal bills, all right? He can afford to live in a mansion over there in Ann Arbor, okay? Helicopters flying in, taking him to work in Lansing, okay, Mackinac Island, and all of these things. Let him pay his own attorney bills.
That's a fair question. There's nothing wrong with that question. I'm sure that the folks who are monitoring this show is going to take back that question to Governor Snyder. And as you know, when the governor is serving in the interest of the people of the state of Michigan, he is indemnified if he makes a bad judgment. As long as it's not criminal, then he is protected by the state of Michigan. If you served in that petition for your township, Livingston Township in Detroit, Sumter, you would be protected from lawsuits, because that's a job that belongs to the people of the state of Michigan. Everybody who serves in a situation like that is protected. That is so that unfair claims or political claims made against that sitting leader is not made. And but if he does something criminal and is proven criminal, no, he should not be paid.
Oh, exactly. Wait, before you say that, let me just say this. I think it was $2 million that was allotted in the regular budget for any type. He's used $4 million. he moved some money to his legal, which they said he had no power to do. And that's one of the things they're investigating, is that how did he allocate $2 million to him but has allocated very little to Flint? Because we're still waiting on him to give dollars to match to a lot of other people who have given money, and we're still waiting on him to do something and move a lot of money so we can do some more stuff. And he is slow to move ours, but he was quick to move something that was going to protect him.
Yeah.
So I have an issue with that.
Sure.
Exactly,
But you know, everything that can be done right now is being done. A lot of that's going to fall on EPA. A lot of that's going to fall on people of the state of Michigan. And just because we make claims well here, there's still got to be sources of money to make claims well for all of the cities that are undergoing the same kind of problem that they need to solve. And I know that you're saying that that's fluff, but it isn't. That's just how the system works. And we got billions of dollars that got to be poured into the funds to protect public water supplies.
But
Well,
see,
Dr. Mona, I'm sorry.
He knew about these issues. All right. So you know, he was privy to all of this stuff that's happening now. Okay, he could have headed it off a long time ago, and I think, you know what I mean, when it's all said and done, all right, hopefully he'll be indicted. Okay, there's already petitions out there for his recall. Okay, and when he gets recalled, I wouldn't care. You know, I wouldn't give him a job on Mackinac Island with a shovel.
No.
Yeah, I just don't think it's fair that other people are doing more than and that's what the Congress was saying when we asked for all that money. They were saying, how is it that we're doing more than the state of Michigan? Because they have not given us a whole lot of money, because they're slow to give money, but you have Dr. Mona, who is the one that exposed the whole issue with the water.
We already knew that for years.
She was on. Well, Dr. Mona was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and she donated all her money towards a trust fund for the future of Flint, and I thought that was commendable. She didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
She didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
With that said, unfortunately, our time limit is up. We must bring the In My Opinion show to a close. But I want to thank our millions of viewers worldwide, our excellent family co-hosts and technicians. This is Ronald Barrington Robinson saying for the In My Opinion show, please stay focused.